months pregnant, if I knew what the acronym PENIS was, and it was personnel action or exercise, not including soldiers. And they had to change it in the 70s because it was not socially acceptable. And because you can't spell PENIS for an official exercise without soldiers.
Let's
if
just
you've
go
got
back to
women
G.I.
in the
Joe
military.
and John Wayne, and then we don't have to worry about this.
What word is that?
I still remember my husband in the Air Force telling me about FUBAR, and I laughed.
That's a good one.
Fubar is fucked up beyond all recognition. Bohica is bend over. Here it comes again. Two of my mugs.
And over here.
We're live, by the way, so thank you.
Well, excuse me.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
some integrity.
So there's a lesson for
It's so
today.
good. Hey, Sal, what you got? Sal, what you got? Welcome, everyone, to our Daily Success Call. John Lavenia here with you. And it looks like 45 of my closest friends. Wow, where is everybody? We got like half a room here today. Good to see you guys, though. Look at all these awesome people. Did Michael get a haircut and a shave? That just happened.
Where is he?
Michael,
He's
make
in
some
his own
noise so
house.
we can see you.
Let's get
Here.
ready for the convo.
Okay, if everybody else is
gosh,
talking,
I
we
didn't
can't see him.
recognize
I'll go on gallery view. There's Michael. Do you see him there? Almost.
Yeah.
You guys, yeah,
Am
look
I
at
coming
him.
through?
Yeah, sure
Looking
do.
good,
Michael,
man.
Did you
wow.
have to go to court today, Michael?
He cleans up
No.
well.
Michael, get yourself a tux and you are ready.
Michael, you got a
Oh,
date?
to Vegas.
Michael's got
You
a
could be in the
date.
Rat Pack.
No more Wolfman. All right, very good. Good to see you guys. Always a pleasure to be here. Hey, I walked in on a conversation with you guys kicking around ideas for coffee mugs and such, which I found inspiring, and it brought up an idea for me that maybe we can kick around here a little bit today. But if you all wanted to, complete your thoughts, I know Scott had some profundities, right, Scott? You had some profound ideas that you're getting. No,
I guess I did.
Okay, very good. Well, here's the thing, and I guess we'll go down this road today because it sounds like a fun road to go down with everyone here, with the diverse group of people that we have here. And that right there is a clue. All right. So the diverse group of people that we have here. Of course, I get to work with many people from many different continents and backgrounds and all this. And I delight in that. I delight in the variety of inputs that I get to experience as a person who communicates with a lot of different, clients. And of course, in my case, in multiple businesses that I run. And but this group here, I think, is exemplary in the way that we've got people coming together from different backgrounds, different cultures, different continents, different goals, but with some common purpose, which is really cool. And what I've talked about before with you guys, which has been, I think, well received and put to use to a large degree, is that the idea, if we lead with purpose, if we keep our purpose always in our mind, then we can apply ourselves more fully and with less, indecision or internal conflict and things like that, because we just know we're on purpose and we're just moving swiftly towards a direction that we've determined for ourselves. That's going to show up differently with different people. And so the idea that came up for me today, as I heard Scott talk about something which was very pleasing to his customers and obviously to him as well, and others may be offended or whatever their thoughts are about it, because again, we're all different people. Sometimes people just want a mirror. They don't want anybody to be different than them. Everybody should just agree with them, and that's the way the world should be. That's kind of rough. But anyway, that's how some people think or fail to think. But what we are confronting here, regardless, is that there are people, different strokes and all that. So here's the question for us entrepreneurs, right? Assuming you identify as an entrepreneur today. I identify as such every single day. The question is, what are my strengths, abilities, advantages that I could bring to the table to further my purpose for this or that business effort, right? Or that goal that I'm looking to achieve, which is personal to me. What do I bring to the table that I could then put out into the marketplace in a unique way, like no one else has that exact combination of, interests, talents, experiences, right? And is that valuable in the marketplace? Is that valuable to my fellow man? The corollary to that question would be, where are my weak points? Where are things that I probably would be better off either not incorporating or delegating and saying, I know that I'm not good at those things. And by the way, that's most things. That's most things. It's not like, look at this, I've got this huge, enormous bag of strengths and a couple of little weaknesses, which I guess some people might, you can get into like a megalomaniacal or manic, idea of yourself. But some people, that could be how they think, right? They're strong with everything. And these couple of things, and don't mention those couple of things, right? Me, I look at it the exact opposite. Socrates, who was arguably the wisest man of his era, said, I know nothing but the fact of my ignorance. So here's a guy who knew some stuff, and he knew enough to know that he really doesn't know. So where can we show up as strong? Here's the question for everyone here. It's going to be a different answer for everybody. Where can we show up as strong in our business? Now we're talking about, obviously, we're talking about print on demand e-commerce in this group, right? That's what we do in this group, print on demand e-commerce. And we got an example, just as we were going live, we got an example of, an approach, a certain emotion or attitude, or we're talking very subjective now, right? There's as many opinions as there are people, right? So here's something that will appeal to some and not to others. And if we are going forward with that, decidedly, then I think it's going to connect, right? Ultimately, it's going to connect with somebody, assuming you're getting the message out, assuming that marketing is occurring, assuming that eyeballs are seeing your stuff. All right. So that's regardless of what you're selling in the marketplace, a coffee cup, a t-shirt, a course, a computer, whatever, right? You got to connect the message to the marketplace. Much bigger conversation than the one we're going to have here now. The question then for me, and I think for all of us here, is what's the message? And you can have multiple messages, right? There's, like I said, there's a few things that I'm really grooved in with. I really know that space or that topic or that, those words, right? Because we're talking about putting words on cups, right? That's one thing that, where do those words come from? Well, they come from your experience. You're not inventing new words unless you're Patricia, right? So, so but you're doing what? You're gaining agreement with a segment of the marketplace about, this is good and real and right and whatever, or sarcastic or funny or whatever. Now that's not going to appeal to everyone. And the good news is that you don't have to. You don't have to. How many people are on the planet right now? Like 7.5 billion, right? What if you successfully impinged on and sold to 0.001% of the population? You're going to be rolling in cash, right? So you don't have to be right 100% of the time. And I think this is the thing for people who are coming here with strengths that are more analytical strengths. Okay. We've got accountants, for an example. I'm not an accountant. That is not my strength. You want to talk about philosophy? I'm your guy. I could talk for months and months and months without taking a breath. Don't show me a friggin' spreadsheet. Don't do that. Right? Don't show me that. All right. So it's not my strength. Other people, accountants, engineers, right? You've got to be right. You damn well got to be right 100% of the time. Otherwise, the bridge is falling down. Otherwise, somebody's dealing with, incorrect accounting, right? You got to be right. So accuracy, analysis, right? That could be your strength. How do you bring that to something as subjective, and we could say creative as what we're doing here? You see, we're all going to evolve, hopefully. Actually, I shouldn't assume that. Some of us are going to evolve deliberately, okay? And some of us will avoid at all costs evolution. But let's say I'm coming here, and by the way, I am rather analytical, which is a blessing and a curse. Okay, which means what? Which means that I'm less creative. Well, if I intend to evolve into these methods to reach the goals that I set for myself, I'm going to have to find ways to apply my strengths and to manage my weaknesses. Now, whether you knew it or not, let's say you're one of our accountant or engineering friends who are here right now, and you got here for the meeting before the meeting. And for those of you on YouTube, you didn't get to hear what's happening before the meeting. You got to hear the very tail end of it, okay? But what was happening was evolution. That's what was happening before the meeting. So the analytical person is here thinking, oh, I don't know, any ideas, is that right? Is that the right thing? What would be the best thing? Let me get my calculator out. And what would be the best thing to put on the t-shirt? Who knows? In fact, in our world, right, in the sales and marketing and the products world, if you're right, like 20% of the time, you're a superstar. 20%, that bridge is falling down. Yeah, I know. You got to be 100% right in that world. But in this world, there is no crystal ball or mathematical, you can make some educated guesses, right? The other good thing about our world here is that you're not throwing $500,000 on the table just to take a swing, which is what a lot of people do. Right now, people are out buying franchises, right? So you get to go ahead and go hundreds of thousands, maybe $1 million underwater, work 80 hours a week, come home every day smelling like pickles and onions to make what, 50 grand a year or something? You could buy that deal. Some people do, right? You didn't buy that deal. Okay, great. So you chose this deal. So what do we have to evolve into? There's a saying, develop your strengths and manage your weaknesses. We've shared this before. And what do I mean by that? I got this from one of my mentors who was giving a lecture, and he said that, and it just stuck with me. Develop your strengths and manage your weaknesses. It kind of rolls off the tongue. That's kind of catchy. I like that. Develop my strengths. Yeah, well, I do know what my strengths are, right? There's some things that I'm really good at. So develop them. All right, well, I guess continue practicing, get even better, right? Good is the enemy of great. So let's not rest on our laurels, right? Let's develop those strengths. Let's be among the best on the planet. All right, got it. Manage my weaknesses. That sounds cool. How do I manage my weaknesses? Well, I guess I could force myself to get good at these things that, are weaknesses to me now. I could really try hard, have some tenacity. I mean, these all sound like good, application of principle, right? I'm a principle-based guy. But then I had to think about it some more. And this took me some time. And observation. And I noticed that other people who had gone further than me in the business world, because I haven't arrived or anything, right? These were people who had what? They had leverage. They had leverage. It wasn't just the solopreneur sitting there staring at their computer or whatever and attempting to be all things to all people all the time and always have the right answer and say always the right thing and so desperate to be right and to never make a mistake. That's playing the small game, which I was playing. These people had leverage. And where did that leverage come from? It came through their ability to manage their weaknesses. And how did they manage their weaknesses? Great question. Glad you asked. They managed their weaknesses with the strengths of others. Back to the original idea of the tremendous variety of people that we get to meet on a daily basis as we walk around planet Earth and show up on Zoom meetings and whatever you're doing, right? You get to evolve into someone who now has gleaned, or has at least heard, confronted, observed, looked at the strengths of others and said, man, that's an idea. I just got an idea based on that. I just heard Patricia, and she said something which may be normal for her and whatever, but it just triggered something in me where I'm just thinking of different combinations now where I could do something. And am I going to be right? I don't know. But what's it going to cost me to find out? Almost nothing. Well, then let's do it. I have in one of my businesses, I have a program that I'm looking to retool and put it out on a new platform. So it's an educational program and all this. And this new platform, I don't know this new platform, right? There's technology and things involved in that. And I have been so reticent, so hesitant to really dive in to execute because I'm thinking, man, I got to learn all this new tech. And oh my goodness. Now my strength is, here's the content, right? I know what I'm teaching. Okay. But the delivery mechanisms and all this, it would probably be a good idea for me to focus on my strengths and perhaps, delegate, hire some people, do something that's going to produce speed in this other area where I'm obviously not expert. People can do that here as well. We've got stories of people. I'm sure you guys have heard some of the testimonies around here where people have built an empire with, here's people that are now doing the product listings, and other people do this or that as far as like designs, right? There are people who build an empire here. And you can see that very easily, with the example, certainly that Rachel and others have set. So the question then again for us is, where are we strong, each of us individually, and what can we bring to the table that nobody else would have that exact combination of talents, experiences, et cetera, right? And then if you can do that without encumbering yourself, without like I was encumbering myself with, oh, I got to learn this new technology and bemoaning, that I'm weak in these areas, right? If we can go ahead and find ways to manage our weaknesses with the strengths of others, then we're going to have that leverage, which when we think about the proposition, like the whole reason that anybody shows up in an entrepreneurial environment, in a business opportunity, and even like a franchise, right? Look at a franchise. How are you getting leverage there? You're getting leverage by managing your weaknesses with the strengths of others. That is how you get leverage. If we all just wanted a mirror, no leverage, right? No, I'm not all things to all people. But these people, this guy can run the frying machine for the French fries, right? You're hired, right? You do it. And you got this whole little, army of people now all cooperating to do things better than you could. Ultimately, that's what I think everyone's looking for here is a leveraged income. Now, if you don't have $500,000 to throw at something that's already set up and you just plug people into the system, right? Well, then you show up here, right? We've got e-commerce. But is this what I would call this? I would call this the stepping stone or the bridge, right? If you look at where you're at now, or when you first showed up here, let's say you're just an hour in the business, right? You just showed up. Fine. And where are you going? All right. Keep that ever in mind. Remember, the purpose drives all of this. Your purpose drives all of this. If you could start to see ahead just a little bit, this is part of the evolutionary process with intent, and you could see, this is where I'm going to be 90 days from now. All right. You may not have tremendous leverage at that point, but keep the leverage idea in mind because you're here for a leveraged income, not linear. Okay. So what's one way you could leverage your income? Well, you could have multiple products on multiple platforms that fetch money when people buy without you even showing up. Does that sound like a leveraged income to you? Hell yeah. That is a leveraged income. That is not linear. That is not billable hours. That is not you showing up to do, the spreadsheets for the guy with the accounting thing. You can keep doing that if that's what you need to do to keep the lights on while you're building your leveraged income, right? That's cool. Be responsible and all that. But you keep thinking ahead. Keep thinking about where you're going. And then what's going to happen, and this is very predictable, guys, as long as we keep our eyes on the target, what's going to happen is you're going to attract ideas, which turn into new combinations. Now you're evolving, right? New combinations of things where you don't necessarily know is that right or wrong, but you do know that you can take that swing and see what the marketplace tells you about it. Is that right or wrong? Is that the best mug ever? Is that, I don't know, we'll find out. But not if we're sitting here analyzing it to death or thinking that we have to be all things to all people or have to have all the answers right now. So this, I think, hopefully you're getting a bit of a weight off, right? If we can not look at the whole mountain in terms of like all the technology or the the various things which we don't know yet, okay, because we haven't walked the path yet. All right, it's one thing to to quote Morpheus from the Matrix, the Matrix, right? It's one thing to know the path, it's another to walk the path, right? So if we haven't walked the path yet, then do we even really know? Okay, but good news, you're walking it with other people, including your coaches, your mentors, Rachel, Adam, etc., right? And others that you haven't met behind the scenes. You guys know there's a lot of people behind the scenes that makes this operation run. Like this isn't Rachel's, e-commerce deal out of her mother's basement or something. Like there's staff all over the world to make this happen. Okay, there's a lot of effort going into this. Now you got leverage, right? Now you've got that variety of thought. You've got experts in different areas, which admittedly I'm not an expert in many of the areas that need to be handled in this operation. No, I'm like the town philosopher here, man. I don't know everything. You know more than me about a lot of this stuff. You're stronger than me in a lot of this stuff. I'll tell you what, right now, if I wanted, and this is just an anecdote, okay, but I'll just give a little love to one of our regulars here. If I wanted to know how to navigate the technological, hurdles of Gear Bubble, I wouldn't ask me. I would ask Missy. I would ask Jan, perhaps. Right. So think about that. We got different people. And just before the meeting, we had people helping each other. And you can accept or reject or agree or disagree or whatever. The end result of all of these conversations that we have isn't that you agree. You don't get a trophy or something for agreeing. The end result is that you get ideas and that you execute them and that you go make money, that you go be successful, that you fulfill your goals. By whatever route, right? I don't care about the methods. I care about the result. For each of you, I care about the result. So, and I'll just say for myself, sometimes getting into a place of willingness to just look at, the fact that I am weak in many areas and you aren't, okay? And just listen. Right. That right there, I think is more valuable than any, than just sitting there and, reading intellectually or academically about, how to be successful in business or something. No, I think you walk the path and you don't walk it alone. And that's why we do these, these sessions. So I hope you're getting that. It may not be apparent, on the surface, right? You may think, my goodness, what did this talk here? What does this have to do with the coffee mugs or something? Well, nothing, and everything. Yeah. When John told me to go exercise every day, what does that have to do with my e-commerce business? Nothing, and everything. So figure that out for yourself, right? And look, I've heard, and this isn't me gloating or anything, but I've heard people say, "Holy crap, transformation." John, I've been walking down the street every day. I was getting a little bit frustrated. I went ahead for a little jog. And the next thing you know, I got back and I was refreshed and I got my work done. And man, I accomplished something today. Done. So go take the advice, right? I mean, all I'm telling you is what I know works. So I love you guys. Those are my thoughts for today. It's kind of weird. We're going to open it up now, but it's kind of weird for me now that we've got Karen every other day here with us. So we get to, sort of divide and conquer and do different tasks and stuff. But I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in a month because I wasn't here yesterday, so it's like time just, it's like, wow, I haven't talked to my friends over here in the low hanging group for like a month, but it's only been, 48 hours. Anyway, I'm done talking. Who else wants to talk? Somebody talk, please. Mark. Hello, sir.
Hello. This is
Hey.
this is a great topic because it's being vulnerable. It's looking in the mirror, as Joe Vitale says, looking in the mirror and seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly, and knowing your strengths and weaknesses is something that we should all look at. I think. I know I look at it often, but I've looked at my strengths and I went, yeah, they are strengths, and the weaknesses. I've come to the conclusion that I don't like detail, so I'd rather hire a VA and get that done because I suck at detail. I suck at organization, and I know those are my weaknesses. I know my strengths, but I don't feel that I should put energy into my weaknesses. I'd rather put energies into my strengths. And that's what I have concluded. And for that, I mean, I have a VA, and it's going to cost a little more, but let me tell you, I'd rather throw my weaknesses that I know that I do not like, and it just sucks my energy out, give it to them. And so I can focus in on my strengths and focus in on what I'm good at. And then my businesses will flourish. That's what I got out of it. But looking in the mirror and being vulnerable, man, that's key. And owning up to your weaknesses and strengths, that's being transparent, that's being vulnerable, and that's looking in the mirror and going, that's who I am. So it's a great question, great topic.
Thank you, Mark. And it is a strength being willing to confront yourself, right? And actually make some assessments, right? So well done. That, or I guess stick your head in the ground, right? That's what some people do. Hey, Michael, you're up. What's up? Clean cut,
Hey,
Michael.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you. Great.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm feeling great today. As you might have remembered, I was talking about the vaccine on Monday, and I was feeling like death warmed over the last couple of days. So now I feel like super great. And again, no fur, looking a little nicer, looking after myself. So, getting through that was challenging. But I want to respond to something you said today about, what are you doing? How are you getting through things, and what's your reality? And I said, so the word that came to me was realities. I'm dealing with realities. And my explanation for that is that goal setting is one thing. Goal making is another. It's the process. So my realities is the whole bubble that encapsulates all that, not just the writing down, the intent, the follow through, all that. It's everything included. And that is my reality, dealing with my realities to make things happen. Because we were talking with Adam as to, goal setting, like how many hours you're going to put in, what's your deal, how many ads you're going to put out. And my initial answer was, I'm going to go full time until I hit my goals. And I sat back and like, am I really putting in full time, number one? And am I really hitting the metrics I want? So I had to get a little more realistic with myself and say, you know what? No, I may be sitting there for 8 hours or so, or more or less, but is my result what I want? Is my result hitting my goals? I'm like, no. So let's scale it back. I want to work basically from 10 till 2, 4 hours a day till this is done. I want to make sure I'm hitting my minimum, which is 5 to 10 ads every day, and make sure they're quality. That's more realistic. And that whole process of getting to that decision is what I call about realities. Not just, hey, I'm going to do this. It's the whole thought process behind the thing and everything involved with getting from point A to point Z and then starting over or continuing with ZA. So that's what.
Michael, are you familiar with Parkinson's law?
I don't know. Doesn't sound.
Parkinson's law asserts that work expands to fill the time allowed for it. So the fact that you're scheduling now, the fact that you've quantified this 10 to 2, this 4-hour period, allows you to tighten it up, right? So now you've got timelines. Otherwise, however long it takes, well, it's going to take forever, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, and I like the idea that you're focused on quality, but also there's got to be a balance in there. Like you got to publish, right? So imperfect and done beats perfect and not done. So yes. What can we get done in that 4 hours, right? Because that's the most gratifying stuff of all. I'll tell you, for me anyway, is knowing that I've accomplished something. So production is the basis of my own morale. All right. Not done is not high esteemable. I don't feel good about myself. Not done. I can come back tomorrow and still not get it done. Right. Back what I was saying before about, publishing on new technologies, this course material and everything, which means nothing to you guys, but it's very real for me. That's not done. not done. How do I feel about that? I don't like that. Right. I got to get stuff out. I got to publish.
Right.
So yeah. So in your case, just the fact that you've gone from infinite to finite amounts of time, I think is an evolved thing to do. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Good times. All right. Who else? We got time for some more peoples.
Can I just ask a question? But it
Hey,
might be
Carol.
I changed joyful noise to my name. So I figured out how to do that. Anyway, I just wanted to ask, because I'm relatively new, so I'm going through the videos that my, what is it, coach is giving me, V. So I want to know, do I go through all those before I start publishing?
Not necessarily.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Because I don't know because I don't know exactly how to do Etsy yet, or I don't know how to do Amazon. So I'm assuming she's going to give me the videos to learn all that, or point me in the
already have
direction.
them. Yes,
No, I know
Carol.
that.
Do you have your login to your members site?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, all of that is in there. And
No, sorry, John. I realize that, but there's so much of it. And she has started giving me like tasks to do. My question was really, while I'm doing those tasks, should I also be listing product, or will that come later?
well, that has to come later, but how much later? Well, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But right now, you're learning the basics. There's basically two tracks that you're going down. One is how to tactical, right? So here is nuts and bolts training material. That's all in the low-hanging system. The other is more strategic and like acceleration, right? Strategic ways to approach the how-to stuff. And so, and it's all done in little chunks, right? So you're kind of going down two tracks at the same time. I would say your first couple of weeks are discovery, really discovery, Carol. So don't think, well, you can think whatever you want. But I will tell you to not beat yourself up over having not been at the top of the mountain because you've been here for 2 weeks or something. No, there's definitely a gradient process that you're going to go up. Okay. Some people want the helicopter just to get to the top of the mountain. Okay. We don't have helicopters for sale right now. So you got to get the basics first. Okay. And then we could talk about leveraged approaches. So I hope that kind of clarifies that for you, but you're kind of right where you're supposed to be. If you're in good communication with your accountability rep, and you've also got, you've gone past like the welcome section of the members site, which some people have apparently had an issue with, right? You go through the welcome video and like, where's the rest of the content? You go up top and you click on library and there's the rest of the content, right? So I know some people have had a mystery about that. I guess just user interface issue, but it's all in there. So go down both tracks at the same time. And Carol, as I think I mentioned to you, perhaps I did, one of the things you want to do as you're going through any new training, not just this, okay, but anything new, any new field of study, is see what you can apply right now and apply it as you're learning it. So that could be, all right, so let's say, for example, Etsy, right? Well, the first thing you're going to need is you need to exist on Etsy. All right, well, let's make that happen, right? Let's set up the accounts and all that, jump through whatever hoops, right? Amazon, Gear Bubble and all this other stuff, right? So those are prerequisites to you selling. And so I would get on that. A prerequisite to that even could be, hey, I'd like for my entity to be operating this business. So let me go ahead and set up that entity, right? So there's lots of different combinations. Again, that's up to you. But you're moving, which is infinitely better than not moving, right? Any statistic, anything you've learned, anything you've produced is infinitely better than zero. Infinitely better, right? So give yourself credit for that. You're awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol. Let's hear from Justin. What's up, Justin? Good to see you here in our midst. Justin.
There we are. So thanks. I haven't talked in a while because I did at the beginning, and I just want to make space for others. But also, as I was going through the different readings and everything, I realized that I had my own integrity and items to get through. The Dorothea Brand one was great, even to the point of, I like to have a Saturday night beer, cut some of that out and keep my mental momentum going. I've been designing my life around this business to the point of, not taking a job I was pursuing for over a year and then finally getting the contract put in front of me and saying, no, that's not going to serve me. Learning from you that you can't work your way out of a problem through a job, or you can't get to millionaire place through a job. And so, I kind of thought, well, I'm not where millionaires are, and so why should people listen to me? And but I have felt at times that we all show up to get on board a plane, and the plane takes off, and we're all sitting in first class, and then the pilot comes out, and we're all a little bit concerned. He says, not to worry, it's on autopilot. It will reach its destination. And then somebody says, I'm not comfortable flying in first class. And so they said, well, okay. Well, somebody says, I'm not even comfortable flying. So they land the plane, we all deboard. And someone says, well, let's walk, my feet hurt. And someone says, I'm hungry, let me go find Jesus and see if there's still some loaves and fish available. And all these things. And so sometimes I actually turned off the video after the presentation because I want to stay on board the plane. And when Karen presented yesterday, there was a bit of, that sense of that happening. And I just want to tell people that, she presented a potentiality, a possibility thinking, and people were like, I can't think that big. And I want to tell you that in this time frame, that there are a lot of things happening. In the last 6 years, there have been 100 years of information available to us. And in the next 4 years, there'll be another 100 years of information. And so it's not just that there's information, which is data. We're learning to apply it. And to give you a concrete representation of 100 years, in 1903, the Wright brothers got off they had flight, Kitty Hawk, right? Flew a plane, first time. By 1969, we were landing on the moon. By 2003, 100 years, the Hubble was at the edge of the solar system. So that's what's currently happening. There's so many technologies and possibilities and things happening that you just have to step into the flow of it. And kind of what I mean about that is that, back in 2017, the light bulb went on for me, and I started throwing as much money in my Roth IRA as I could, and finding, because there are hundreds of small companies that are going to become the next $2 billion company. And I started buying 10, 20, 30,000 shares of stock at under $1, preferably under $0.25. And I remember the day that I listened to somebody else. I had 44,000 shares of a stock that went to over $2. And I sold it 2 weeks before on the advice of somebody else. And I just missed out on a $90,000 payday. And then about a month later, the same thing happened. And I missed out on a $120,000 payday. And I was like, this is crazy. So, my goal here is to design my life around this that's happening, because I think this is a great social experiment here. I get on TurboTax, and this year doing customer support for TurboTax has been amazing, because TurboTax offers people to pay $150 to $300 from out of their federal refund, but after 75 days, they just direct hit their bank account. But they don't make that truth in lending thing clear to people. So starting in May, when TurboTax started hitting their bank account, I was taking 500 phone calls a month, and there are 1,000 of us taking these phone calls. TurboTax has over 35 million customers. Millions and millions of people didn't have $100 or $300 in their bank account to cover a surprise auto debit on their bank account. And so that's not what we're here about and what we're doing. We're trying to be different. And so, yeah, designing your life. So I'm kind of like Michael, I get up early in the morning. I'm on this at 5:30 in the morning, have done my whatever spiritual practice. And by 7 o'clock, I remember this small thing here that I have 4 things to do. Put up coffee mugs, put up coffee mugs, put up coffee mugs. And on the Amazon website, you can set it to 250, display 250 of your product. So you only need 4 pages of product to hit 1,000. And I'm just really happy about all that is happening here, and get a little sad when people don't feel that it's a possibility for them.
Well, thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're coming from all different backgrounds and different experiences, right? So, and what you bring to the table is perspective, right?
Yeah.
And you know what, I can commiserate with you a bit on money left on the table and that sort of thing, right? So we won't go down that road right now, but I will tell you, doors close and doors open all the time. Love you, brother. Glad you're here. All right. Any last thoughts before we wrap up? Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Kathy.
Yeah,
Hi.
I just like.
Oh, wrong Kathy. Sorry.
Oh, I just. Sorry.
Kathy, you've got the floor.
Okay. I just like to say. Oh, can you hear me? Oh.
I can.
Okay. I just. Oh, I've just lost it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
Anyway.
When you get it back, let's get Kathy back here. Catherine, were you about to say something? Catherine.
Is it
No?
me this time?
Oh, you had said something. Okay. Any last thoughts then from anyone? Okay. Well then,
I got
Kathy.
one. I got one. If you got.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Hey, Sam.
Hey, what's going on? I enjoyed you guys. Hey, I've got a question. Do you use the same title on Etsy as you do on Amazon? You know what I mean? Like you go through Gear Bubble, and if you have the integration, does it shoot that title to each one of the platforms? Like I haven't set up my Amazon yet, so I wouldn't know. It's supposed to be coming in the mail today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Something I'm
and in fact, if you have questions on that, great stuff, Sam. So this is more like technical or logistical, but there's always a meeting before the meeting and usually a meeting after the meeting. So as soon as we wrap this up, which is as soon as we're done here, people can come back on and, talk shop if you want to do that. But welcome, Sam. Good to see you, brother.
Cool beans. Thanks, man.
All right. Very good. Carol, did you get to, I'm not Carol, Kathy, did you come up with that thought again?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk to Carol a little bit because when she brought up the fact that she was feeling a little overwhelmed, I know exactly what she was feeling because I've been doing this for just a couple of months now. And when I first came into it, I was, oh boy, I'm telling you, I just thought, what did I get myself into? This is just overwhelming. And the fact that I work nights was even worse because I don't do day shift at all. And it seemed like everything was happening on days. And how was I going to do a day thing when I stayed up all night? And it was just too much. So anyway, I figured out that I could kind of turn my life a little bit around and work things out. And if you took John's idea of the 4 things, and it's kind of like I had in my mind, I had to use like a bowling alley analogy and have like these little lanes of what you had to do during the day or during your lifestyle. And on the 4th one is where you had to generate your money and take all those things of making your money and take those because it's like a bunch of little fingers and work your way through all the stuff that you're learning on how to make your money, and take a piece of paper or whatever and just try to figure out all those little fingers of how to educate yourself on Amazon and Etsy, and getting your coaches or your coach and watching your videos and whatnot, and get it kind of organized so that you can learn those areas. So, I mean, that if that helps you, Carol, to try to organize your thoughts, because otherwise you'll just be paralyzed. You'll be paralyzed and you won't be able to move. That's what happened to me anyway.
Got it. Thank you, Kathy. Good perspectives there as well. Thank you very much. All right. I see Lisa's got her hand up, and then we do have to wrap up because we are over time. Hey, Lisa, your thoughts? Lisa?
Yeah. Am I unmuted? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, mine was just a comment for Sam, who was asking about the technical help. The people that go into the rooms after this, basically, you just wait until the room's shut down and then you re-click on it and open it back up. And there's usually a group of people, and they're wonderful, and they're happy to help you on some of those things that are a bit unclear as you're going along.
Thank you, Lisa.
It's just the method of getting back into that room. Took me nearly 2 weeks to get somebody to catch on quick enough to get somebody to help me get back in.
You just click on the same Zoom link. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Lisa. All right, you guys. I'll be back here with you on Friday. Karen will be here with you tomorrow. So enjoy that. Make it a great day. You totally deserve